Hey guys, welcome to BuyMeAnIPhone.com. I'm Omar, and today we have another video review. We're going to be checking out a new case made by Otterbox. It's going to be the Otterbox Defender. A lot of you guys have been making a request of me to check out Otterbox, and so I finally got a hold of them, and Christine from Otterbox sent me a sample of the Defender iPhone case. And I have to say, it's a pretty awesome hardcore case. This is what the phone looks like, or the case looks like when it's in the plastic. Now this case is actually, it's a plastic wrapped in silicone, which is pretty cool. So this is the phone inside the plastic part, exoskeleton here. It's like two pieces that snap together really well. Well, lots of big bumps, like these raised parts here, so that, I guess, extra shock absorption right there. And so basically you take this, you put your phone in here, and then you put the phone into the silicone wrap. And it goes on pretty easily, and everything matches up really nicely. Let me see if I can get it on. Pretty nice and snug, actually. It's not too stretched out, although I would imagine this definitely is not the type of case for those that like to switch out their cases often. This is not the type of case for you, because it requires quite a bit of work to get your phone into here, and it would be pretty annoying to constantly doing that, back and forth, taking your phone out, putting it back in. So this is definitely a case for, everyday use for all the time. So there we go. So nice and snug in the silicone right there. Pretty nice. This does an excellent job, probably the best job I've ever seen of a case for protection wise. I could probably drop this off the top of my house, and as long as it doesn't hit the screen, it probably would just bounce up and be fine. It does have a screen, like a membrane, like a plastic cover that's attached to this front part of the case. So for mine, I already have a protective shield on mine, so plastic on plastic kind of does this little air bubble type of deal here. But if this was a case I was going to constantly use, obviously I wouldn't need to put a protective shield on my phone. I would just stick it in here and it wouldn't have that problem. So it does have so the case does come with a protection for the screen. It has it's a pretty thick layer of plastic. Does a pretty good job. Everything lines up really well, and everything's covered up. Now this case is not made to be waterproof, but it can handle a little bit of light rain or precipitation, so that's one good thing for it. And so you have the headphone jack there, which is covered up. No water can get into there if it's plugged up pretty well. Your standby switch it's right there. It still senses it if you press that spot. Still comes on. You got your the speaker and the microphone on the bottom are covered up pretty well. They have like some type of membrane or some type of plastic there. I guess you can still hear through, but the water doesn't get through to it. And you have this little flip right here for your connector, and you can cover that up when it's not being used. So not a whole lot of dust gets into your phone when it's in this case. And then another thing to keep in mind too is I put this case in my pocket a few times, and lint doesn't really stick to it that bad. Like a lot of silicone cases have that problem, but this didn't really do it too much like that. Now, one of my big issues with this case, I love this case. There's two things I don't like about it though. Or I'll say one thing about the phone, one thing about the actual holster. Now, the thing to keep in mind about this case is you cannot use your silent switch on the side. See right there, you have your up and down volume switches, your silent switch is behind this big plastic nub. So you do not have access to it. So if you're the type of person that puts your phone into silent mode a lot of the times, you're not going to like this case because you're not going to be able to do that. Even if you drop your volume all the way down, you can only drop your volume to 1 bar. You can't completely silence it with the volume switches. So maybe if you're the type of person that doesn't like to have a ringer and you always keep your phone on silent, like my wife, that's how she has her phone. She never lets it ring. That's not a big issue. To put it on silent and put it in the case, you're fine. You're good to go. But for me, I have meetings sometimes at work or when I go to church, I want to put it on silent, and I can't do that. I just have to lower the volume all the way down and hope it doesn't ring. So that's a big issue for me. Another thing too is it comes with a holster, which is a pretty heavy-duty holster. It's almost the size of the phone itself. It's pretty big. It does a really good job of protecting. When you stick your phone in the case, the screen faces the back of it. So while it's in the case, you can just strap this to the side of your hip, maybe while you're mountain biking or hiking or something. You drop the whole thing, falls off your hip. It's still going to be really well protected. But it's pretty awkward to pull out of this. It kind of clips in really well. I almost wish there was like a cutout in the bottom where you could push up from the bottom, because you have to like play with it a little bit to pop it out. Back and forth. There it goes. So it's not the smoothest to come out. And this clip does rotate a little bit in case you do want to rotate it. It wouldn't be very comfortable. I mean, since it's so high up on the case, I don't think it'd be very comfortable except in a normal position. But if you like to, you can rotate it around. So, awesome protection, awesome quality. This case retails for $50, which is a little bit pricey, but if you're the type of person that leads a very active lifestyle, if you like to do a lot of extreme sports, maybe mountain biking, snowboarding, hiking, those types of things, this would definitely be the case for you. And Otterbox actually makes another case, the Otterbox Armor case, which is actually waterproof up to 3 feet. Which is pretty awesome, and you can use it. It's a functional case, so you can use it. Maybe you go kayaking or something. You can actually use your phone, even if it gets wet. And Danny has a sample of that one. He's going to be writing up a review on that pretty soon, next week. So look out for that one if you're interested to hear about that one. So this is the Otterbox Defender, retails for $50. And like I said, my only qualms about it is the silent switch and the holster. And I actually, most of the time when I tested it, I didn't even use the holster just because it was kind of tough to pull out. I just kept it in my pockets. And like I said, the lint doesn't stick to it very bad. And if your keys are in your pocket, it's okay because this has a protected plastic screen, so it's not going to scratch your screen up or anything either. So pretty nice. Pretty good quality. Otterbox definitely does a good job of making cases that protect all types of cell phones, not only the iPhone. But of course the iPhone with just a touch screen is probably a difficult case to protect, but they do a really good job of that. So that's it for that. Highly recommended if you meet those types of requirements like I mentioned already. And that's going to be it. So I'm Omar C, and this is another video review on BuyMeAnIPhone.com. Thanks for watching.